Hey man, what's going on, man? CGMTV. It's been a minute, actually. It's been the whole NBA season. We here, we direct, we getting it in. So let's get into it, man. Seeds 1 through 8 in the Eastern Conference. Seed number 1, Boston Celtics versus seed number 8, the Chicago Bulls. Oh man. You want to talk about a series that I can't really call because I had Chicago as my finals pick this year against the Spurs, but you know, D-Wade, Rondo, and Butler haven't meshed as much as I thought that they would. Isaiah Thomas is on a scoring tear unlike any other. The only issue that I got is you know, the Boston Celtics, as constructed, have not been an experienced playoff team. Can they take that going into the playoffs and keep it rolling? We'll see. I got them beating the Chicago Bulls in 6 games, 4-2. The number 2 seed, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the number 7 seed, the Indiana Pacers. Very, very interesting series because of the simple fact of Lance Stevenson is now coming back into his own. The Indiana Pacers seem like they're on the roll. They got a couple of good pieces if they can make it mesh. Miles Turner, Jeff Teague, Paul George, Lance Stevenson, Al Jefferson, Monta Ellis. They got a team. They have a team that could give the Cavs a run for their money. But I don't see them beating the Cavs. I give them the same shot that I give the Bulls to beat the Celtics. 6 games, 4-2. I got it going to Cleveland. The number 3 seed, the Toronto Raptors versus the number 6 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have too much to say about this series. It's 2 teams that I don't believe in. I don't believe the Bucks are big time. I do believe that they're a playoff team. I do believe that they're worthy of their spot. I don't believe that they're a big time team. I don't think that they're gonna make noise. Toronto, I've just given up hope on them. You thought that Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan would have the formula with Jonas Valanciunas and a couple of other pieces, but they just can't seem to get it to mesh together. Now, if they can get it to mesh together, they could very well come out of the East. They got Kyle Lowry, they got DeMar DeRozan, they got Serge Ibaka, they got Jonas Valanciunas, they got a couple of other pieces to come off of the bench. I'm not going to go that far because I'm trying to keep it short this time because I was getting complaints about my videos being too long. So 3-6, the Raptors versus the Bucks. I got the Raptors in 7 games. I think that that'll go the whole distance. And then number 4 seed, Washington against number 5 seed, Atlanta. Wow. I must say, this is another one of those series to where it has very, very little meaning to it to me because I feel like both of these teams won't go far. I feel like they're just another stepping stone for the Celtics. So I'm going to choose the Atlanta Hawks in 7 games because I'm in Atlanta. Got to choose the home team. Now we getting down to the semifinals. You got the Boston Celtics versus the Atlanta Hawks. As I just said, I felt like the Atlanta Hawks are stepping stones for the Celtics, so I think that the Celtics get through with this series in 6 games. Another 4-2 series. And then the next series would be Cleveland versus Toronto. I think this time it'll be a 7-game series. I think that Toronto will push them all the way to the limit. And I think that Cleveland just barely, just slightly gets past Toronto. 4-3. Then it'll end up being the Boston Celtics versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. This series, I've talked to a lot of people that I feel very confident in talking to about basketball, about this very series. And I'm not changing my answer. I think the Celtics will win this series. I think the Celtics will win it in 6 games. I think that it'll be 4-2. I think Isaiah Thomas has hit that scoring stride to where I don't see LeBron James scoring too much more than Isaiah Thomas can put up. So at that point, it's the supporting cast of the Celtics against the supporting cast of the Cavs. And I just trust the Celtics just a little bit more. I think that their supporting cast plays like a team as to where the Cavaliers supporting cast plays like individuals, and it'll come to hurt them once they get into the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Boston Celtics will be the representatives of the Eastern Conference. Now we're moving on to the Western Conference. The number 1 seed, the Warriors, against the number 8 seed, the Portland Trailblazers. A lot of people may call me crazy, but I think that series is going to go 7 games. I think Damian Lillard is just enough of a problem for Steph Curry to have to worry. I think CJ McCollum can put Klay Thompson's defense to the test. I think you got Allen Crabbe, who really can't do nothing with Kevin Durant. But, I think that in this series, his length and his height will actually be a benefit for Portland. I think that, the power forwards are pretty much a wash, Draymond Green and Ed Davis. And then, you got the centers. JaVale McGee, and I believe Nurkic is back. If not, then that'll determine whether this series goes 7. This series is going to go 7 if Yusuf Nurkic is back. Now, if he's not back, Warriors in 5. But if he is back, then I think that the Portland Trailblazers can give the Warriors a series, a very, very, very intimidating series, to say the least. The number 2 team, the Spurs, against the number 7 team, the Grizzlies. We've seen this matchup over and over and over and over and over and over in the playoffs again. I'm going with the Spurs. I mean, there's been one time where the Grizzlies upset the Spurs. That was in the first round back in about like 2011, 2012. Since then, the Spurs have owned the Grizzlies. I don't expect it to be any different. I actually expect it to be a sweep. I don't think that the Grizzlies have a chance of getting a game. I may be wrong. They may get a couple of games, but I don't see them winning the series. I call sweep. Others could call it maybe a game here and there. I think that their talent has passed their prime. I think Marc Gasol has passed his prime. Mike Conley has passed his prime. Zach Randolph is way past his prime. The fact that he's even putting up numbers that are similar to what he used to is just amazing to me. So that's that series. The number 3 seed, the Houston Rockets, versus the number 6 seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games. The Oklahoma City Thunder won the season matchup. I think so. No. You know what? The Rockets won. The Rockets won. But here nor there, I don't think that the Rockets I think that the Rockets had a miracle year. I don't think that they're as good as their record shows. The record is the 3rd best team in the league. I don't see the Houston Rockets being the 3rd best team in the league. I don't see them making big strides because they don't have the defense to make those kinds of strides. They have the offense to play with anybody. But like I tell people, it only takes 4 nights to go cold, and you're out of the playoffs. And I think that that's going to happen fairly early for them. I think that the Thunder's length is going to give them a problem in the playoffs. I think they got a couple of pieces that haven't been in a very important game other than James Harden. Ryan Anderson hasn't been in a very big game. He's been in the first round with the Pelicans. So is Eric Gordon. So it's not like he's been somewhere. Lou Williams has been on the Lakers and the 76ers. I mean, he shared the year with the Hawks, but, you know, he really wasn't that big of a piece to them. I mean, like, when you look at their team, they just don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs as to where, you know, you got Steven Adams, you got Inez Cantor, you got Russell Westbrook, you got Nick Collison, you got some very, very experienced pieces over there that have been in the playoffs and won't be nervous at the opportunity to show their skills. I give the Thunder the 4-3 win against the Rockets 7-game series. And the last matchup, which would be the number 4 seed, the Utah Jazz versus the number 5 seed, the Los Angeles Clippers. Another series I really could care less about. I see the Jazz winning in 6. I think the Clippers are over. I think this is the year that the Clippers lose and they break up the whole Lob City thing, which was retarded to begin with anyway. I told them it was retarded to cover the banners. I told them it was retarded for this Lob City campaign. I felt like it was overhyped from the gate. I think that Chris Paul needs to go to a team that can value his leadership skills and his ability to take over games with his dribbling and with his decision making. I think that a perfect team would be Atlanta. I think that he would fit very well in Atlanta. I think that Atlanta needs that guard. I don't think that Dennis Schroeder was the piece that they thought that he was going to be. He's a great guard. He's a good guard. He's not a great guard. Let's just say it like that. He's good, but he's not great. He's good for 13 and 6, but he's not in that great level of 19 and 11. You know? So, I think that Chris Paul can go over there. I think that Chris Paul could be a service for some other teams, maybe the Spurs. My Spurs, I'll be more than welcome to ask Tony Parker to go to the bench and, you know, Chris Paul be inserted into the starting lineup. But, you know, that's a reacher's dream. But I do think that the Clippers will lose to the Utah Jazz, an up and rising team with young talent. That Rodney Hood, Gordon Hayward, George Hill, Rudy Gobert. You know, they have very, very solid pieces out there that I believe are ready to take that next step into showing that they could be an annual playoff team. So now, with that being said, the number 1 seed, the Warriors versus the number 4 seed, the Jazz. Another series that's going to scare the living hell out of the Warriors fans. I believe that it will go to 7 games again. I think the Warriors will be pushed to 7 games in the first series and in the second series. The first series pending on the center of the Blazers. The second series I think that Utah is built to play against a team like the Warriors. They're young, they can run, they play exceptional defense as a team. I just feel like they have the right pieces, you know. I feel like George Hill can put some defense on Steph Curry. I feel like you don't have to take George Hill off of Steph Curry. I feel like you can leave Rodney Hill on Klay Thompson. I feel like you can actually have Gordon Hayward play against Kevin Durant straight up. Now, is he going to win the matchup? No, but can Gordon Hayward put up 20 points, get you 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals? I think he can do so. If Derek Favors can work his way back up, that would be a huge advantage to the Jazz. Now, if Derek Favors is in this series and he's playing, I think I may go with the Jazz. Because I don't think that Draymond Green can push, out strength, and out bully Derek Favors like he does most opponents. I think that he'll have the advantage slightly because of his playmaking ability. But because of the type of player that Draymond Green is, I think that Derek Favors poses a very big matchup problem against Draymond Green. But I do not think that Derek Favors will be ready for that series. But if he is, I think the Warriors are out. The Jazz are in the Western Conference Finals. But I have the Warriors going to the Western Conference Finals for now because I don't know who's going to be playing in the series, kind of like I don't know who's going to be playing in the Portland series. Spurs, my Spurs against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the reason why I sigh is because the Oklahoma City Thunder have had my Spurs number for a long time. And I've never been one to bet against history. But I got to bet against history this time. I don't think that the Thunder have a chance of beating my Spurs. I think that my Spurs will go on to the Western Conference Finals after 5 games. I think that Russell Westbrook will run out of energy. He would be named in an NBA MVP. But I think that even the Thunder know it's best for them not to have too much expectation going into next year than to have heavy expectations going into next year, because if you don't pick up a big free agent, then everybody's going to be looking for you to be in that Western Conference Finals picture. They're going to be wanting you to be a top 4 seed. I don't think that this team is ready. I don't think Victor Oladipo is ready to be a second man. He's a good third man, possibly fourth man. I will really try and work my way into getting Enes Kanter in there. But here nor there, I don't see them there. I see my Spurs winning in 5, which would lead to the Eastern Conference Championship, or not the Western Conference Championship. The Warriors versus the Spurs. And this is where it gets a big smile on my face, because those 2 other series is the reason why I'm going to pick my Spurs to sweep the Warriors. I think the Warriors will be low on energy. I think that the Warriors and the Cavs are going to face the same issue. They're going to get every team that plays against them in the playoffs their best. They're going to get the best teams that they could have ever wished for. Why? Because I believe, this is my belief, it's 9 times out of 10 isn't true, but I think the rest of the NBA can't stand the fact that everybody thinks that the Warriors and the Cavs are going to the finals. So I feel like every team is going to make sure that they do whatever they can. I think the field is going to do whatever they can to make sure that those 2 teams don't end up in the finals, and I think that that's what's going to end up happening. I think that the Boston Celtics are going to be the representatives of the East, and I think that the San Antonio Spurs would be the representatives of the West, which would lead to the finals. The Boston Celtics versus the San Antonio Spurs. I have to say, I think that it would be pretty easy for my Spurs. I think it would be a 4 to 5 game series. I would give Boston maybe 1 game. And the reasoning why is because everything that Boston is good at, San Antonio is just a little bit better. And, I think that Jaylen Brown is going to be a talent to watch for. Boston picked themselves up a superstar with that guy. They got Isaiah Thomas. They got Jay Crowder. They got, they got Kelly Olynyk. They have the pieces, but like I was saying earlier, I think that they're a little bit unseasoned enough for them to be going up against the Spurs and saying that they can make an immediate impact against the Spurs in the finals. So there we go. The Boston Celtics versus the San Antonio Spurs, NBA Finals in 5 games. CGMTV, we out.